Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Monday, March 13th, 2023, and you could probably hear the wind blowing around my house. It's picking up here in the Netherlands, so it's probably going to be quite, moving week ahead of us. Of course, we have the voting on Wednesday here in the Netherlands, so we'll just have to wait and see, although I'm not really paying a lot of attention to this. My guess is that there's going to be manipulation and most likely the people that are already in place are going to remain in place. But I wanted to talk about, first of all, that there was, of course, this big protest going on, a climate protest and a farmers' protest this past Saturday. Of course, the media was only focused on the climate and barely paid any attention to the farmers and what's happening there. What I found very interesting, that there were material from Germany. I'm not sure if it's called water cannons. I think water cannons, well, that's literally what it means in the Netherlands. And it's pretty much water, and they'll just spray you in all kinds of ways to get rid of you. And the police actually used that, but not on the farmers, which was quite remarkable, but on the climate activists. So I thought that was very interesting, because if you really look at at least the things I've seen, the protest, there was much more police interference with the climate than there was with the farmers. So very normally that's the different way around. So I thought that was very interesting. Of course, the media used it completely to focus on the climate. That's what they do. They use it as a distraction from the other things that are going on. And let's face it, if there wasn't a climate protest going on at that moment in time, they would have found something else to distract themselves with. But it was interesting to see. And I might actually look later on in this week if it's really useful to attend those protests, because there are a lot of people here, some people that are like, protests are really just the hoops that you have to get yourself through. You have to jump through from the dark energies. You don't want to have any part in that. They decide where you should go, what you should do. You have to follow their rules and then you can protest. So really it's not a protest, and you're just giving more attention to the system. And to me, it always feels that whatever you do, it has to do with your energy. It has to do with your frequency. I think that's the most important part, because even you could completely leave this old dark system, live self-sufficient. If you're still angry, frustrated, full of fear or sadness, you're still attached to the old dark system. It doesn't really matter where you are. It's about your frequency. It's about your energy. Really, that's why I always focus on shadow work, and also, of course, the lighter side of that job. It's also important to look at your light side, not just your shadow side, but also start enjoying your life. It needs to be balanced. That you need to take care of that. If you do that, you are already disconnected from the dark energies. They need the lower frequency. So the higher your frequency is, the more you deal with your energy, the less they can manipulate you and they can touch you, which to me means that if you go to a protest, it feels right to you. It feels like, yeah, I need to do this. And you stand there in all your light and shine and bring this frequency, then that is going to have an effect. We are here to break up the system. I already mentioned that before. That's really the job we applied for as souls, to incarnate here and break it from the inside out. That's why we actually came here, to shine, to bring a new frequency, to blow up the system. So, and then it's also necessary to be part of the system before you start to blow it up. And that's similar with certain people in certain places. I do know that people have the tendency that they look at how the person got there, like, oh, well, they had to jump through all these hoops from the dark energies, so they have to be dark energy. We're not going to look at their actions. We're not going to look at what they're doing right now, because obviously this person could have been part of the dark energies. That's very possible. I like to look at people, what they're saying now, what is the effect and how many people they are reaching. Because sometimes you need to get to certain, you need to step through certain hoops to get in a certain position to blow up certain things. That's how I see it. But I might even take a look at that with the cards this week. I'm not sure. Usually when I do a card video, I do it on my intuition and what feels right for me at that moment. Today I want to look at the banks, obviously, because I want to take a look at the banks. And I'm sorry I had skipped, there was some interference, but the first bank that started having problems last week was the Silvergate Bank, and that's a bank for cryptocurrencies. Then we had the Silicon Valley Bank that collapsed, and now the Signature Bank is collapsing. So there is something going on with all these banks. And the Signature Banks is actually is a subsidiary of Bank Hapoalim, I hope I pronounce it correctly, of Israel. And on April 30th, 2020, Bank Hapoalim was found to be complicit in tax evasion and money laundering relating to the FIFA and bidding for the World Cup. So there has been some issues there. So it's very interesting to see that it's now collapsing. So I actually taken a look at that, is what's going on there. We know that the system, the old financial system, is going to collapse. It's been collapsing for a while now. But the cards I got for the energy concerning the banks is first the 3 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, then we have the King of Pentacles in the past, the 9 of Swords. We have the Judgment card for the near future, the future, the 2 of Swords, and I got another card, and that's the Hanged Man. So we are really in the part where everything is falling apart. This is about feeling powerless. This is about stress. This is going to create havoc on, of course, Wall Street and everything's happening, of course, in the financial market. It is about time that it stops. This old dark energy system has to collapse. So this is about old pain that's going to fall apart. This system has been infiltrated and has been creating so much pain by creating money out of nothing, holding all the money for the rich people, and really just been playing a number on the rest of humanity. So it's now about judgment. Oh, the card is falling. Just a moment. Let's see. Sorry about that. The Judgment card, it's about judgment. It's they're not going to get away with this anymore. But right now I have a feeling that we're not going to see the complete collapse yet. It's almost like there's still something needs to be done. So the Hanged Man is about everything is still on some kind of standstill, and especially with the 2 of Swords. So I have a feeling that we are seeing that there is a collapse happening. There is something going on, obviously, but it will take some time before we're really truly going to see this. But it has started. The economical crash we're heading towards has already started. It's showing itself. So there's going to be a feeling of powerlessness, especially when people are going to lose money. Banks are going to collapse. This will have a domino effect. Once banks are falling, other banks will be affected as there will be influence as well. It's going to have an effect on everything worldwide, on the old financial dark system. So I'm not seeing the collapse immediately, but we are heading towards that. So be prepared. Just have some cash in your home and food, water, just in case, but just be prepared that things can get very hectic. But it already is, let's face it, but it's going to get more hectic. This is really going to, when you, touch people's money and that disappearing, that really is the basis for a lot of people, the feeling of security. So you really are hurting them on a very, very deep level. So this is going to be very stressful. The other thing I wanted to take a look at was this week's energy, and it's a bit strange because I usually have 3 cards for the energy of the week and then 3 cards as advice, but I automatically actually did the spread I normally do, and that probably is just unconsciously, I was doing this for a reason, most likely, because this is very interesting. So this is for the week ahead. We have the Tower. We have Strength as the central card. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Death card. We have the 7 of Pentacles for the future kind of ahead of us. And the Chariot. And you probably noticed that we have 5 major arcana cards, which means this is going to be a major week. This is going to be very interesting, especially with the Tower and the Death card. Things are collapsing. So especially with the financial things that we're seeing right now, it's going to feel like all the things that really don't suit us anymore are going to fall apart. But that's going to be tough. It's going to be very hectic. It can be happening very sudden. It can happen, if things are falling apart or falling away, that's going to have an effect worldwide on the financial system. And the Death card is the ending and the beginning. So it's the ending of something. The old has to go before the new can come in. This is all about stepping into our own strength. Very important that we do that this week. Be patient, because it will take a little bit before we can really take, the ropes in our hands as humanity and move away from this and really take control over our own lives. So that will take some time. There's some patience needed, but I think this week is going to be very important. Like I've seen already with the first card reading, I don't think immediately everything is going to fall apart financially. I think it will take a little bit of time, but we are facing that. So the old has to go. So I think in the background, a lot of things are going to collapse. I do think a lot of things are going to come out. So it will terrify people at a certain level, especially when they're trying to hold on to this old system. Those people will have a very, very hard time with the month ahead of us. But this is really, if we have to look at advice, step into your own power, decide what is good for you, what feels right to you. Don't give your power away to anyone outside of yourself. That is very important. You can listen to other people, but don't just follow them. Just feel and think for yourself. That's stepping into your own authority. Then you are taking control of your life. Very important that we stop doing that we stop giving away our power. You can listen to people, you can read all kinds of things, but really decide for yourself, this feels right for me and this doesn't feel right for me. It's very important that we are really going to step into that and trust that what is happening will be all right and that you will be all right. That's probably one of the most important things now. Things are going to fall apart. Especially this coming week, we really are going to see collapse happening, and that can be frightful. Even though you're prepared for it, you're ready for it, it can still feel like, oh, what's going on? And maybe old pains, old fear, old lack, the feeling that you're not going to have enough, and it's not going to be, you're not going to be strong enough, or you're not going to make it. Maybe those fears will come up, and it's really embrace them. Breathe through them, transform them. Because this is also about transformation. That's the Death card as well. I have a feeling especially that this is not just this coming week, especially with the major arcana cards. This is going to stretch out longer, this period. But we are really now in the collapse period. We really are in the collapse period. And it can be hectic and it can be very unexpected. Things suddenly happening. But we need to have some patience before we can really take back the control. So I'd like to leave it at this and hope to see you in another video. Bye.